playing as Dewsbury, and Russia will be the visitors for the scorebook purposes tonight.
I recognise him from, well, I'll tell you where I know him from, the Leeds and District League. In fact, I just remember who he is. That bastard robbed us of the game once. I remember now. Well, I used to, yeah. I used to play in the Leeds and District League, and students, or they were properly organised.
Graham Thompson to kick off for Scotland. Strong one out of defence. Scotland look a tad offside. Yeah, the referee's seen it. To watch on the Russian side, Kiryakov, number 13. Looks dangerous. Oh, good pressure from the Russians. But Trevor giving some open rugby, wasn't he? Trevor?
Yeah, very disappointing try for Scotland to give away there so early. Obviously, you're looking for your first set of 6 on your own line to keep the opposition out. Disappointing that they should give away a penalty on the halfway, find themselves marched straight down into 10 metres and then be unable to defend their line. It was a fairly straightforward attacking play, move the ball one way, switch it to the skinny side, found wanting in defence in the centres there, and really that was a bit of a walk-in. And I must say, having seen these two teams before, been very impressed with this Russian side, and I'm sure that the Scottish defence are going to have a lot of problems with their free running, but I would have expected them to get their first in tackles a little bit firmer in, and they're going to be 4-0 down after that first try, not converted there. But I think you were saying beforehand as well, a few problems with injuries for the Scottish.
Yeah, that's right, Trevor. 5 of the starting 13 initially are out of the game. And we've had to bring in the guys that are left on the bench, but I'm sure they do a good job as they have done through the tournament. It's vital now that Scotland keep their heads and hold the ball for 6 tackles. Stuart McCarthy, a very lively centre for Scotland, played in the emerging nations. Oof. A high tackle there from the Russians, from Richard Ribeiro. That's actually been a feature of the Russian defence, Trevor. Do you not think high tackles in the last game against England?
Yeah, I think the Russians are very good at putting the body on the line. Sometimes it does stray the wrong side. Certainly we've had success here. They've had a record of having somebody sent off after only 15 seconds, I think. So you could actually say the Russians are showing remarkable restraint this evening.
You're full of good match facts, Trevor, thank you. There's 2 penalties conceded. Scots coming right back after that try. Scotland are moving the ball. Oh, Mike Rush got held up again. Thompson across the field. So much expected of him. Out to Marshall. Last tackle. Tap 22. Strong running from the Russians there. It's a dangerous player, this fullback. I think one of the players of the tournament, Trevor.
Yeah, so far he's scored some great tries with his free run. He's going to cause problems on that side of the Scottish defence. The one thing that I think the Scots need to do is get a little bit deeper when they're actually in control of the ball. They're not getting the speed up when they're in control of the ball, but at the moment they've got to worry more about their defence.
Need a good defence from here, Scotland. Defending their goal line. Ooh. Unlucky there from the Russians.
Yeah, there was some clever thinking there by the winger to kick on, but I'm a little bit concerned about how the Scottish defence is getting caught out in the centre there, purely when the ball was moved wide. Try only avoided there because the final pass from the Russians went behind the centre.
Yeah, I agree. I think the reason for that is because the two Scottish centres are basically wingers and not experienced perhaps at this level at playing in the centre. Chris Norris is limping there. Scottish loose forward. New into the squad in the last month or two. Good sake. He's pacey. An excellent runner in open field. Well, I think, Trevor, that was one of the tries of the tournament.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it comes, as we were saying, from one of the players of the tournament. Unfortunately, the problem there was a fairly good Scottish kick, but not with a great committed chase. And certainly when you're kicking to Ilusov, this Russian fullback, who has scored tries like that to the I saw at Rydale York as well, in exactly the same position. Once he'd beaten the first three that were in the initial chase, he's got a great sidestepper, can also run at speed on the angle, and that's what took him over the halfway. And then although he had three men in the cover defence chasing him, there was only one result. It's looking a little bit ominous for Scotland at the moment because they're not actually controlling their sets of play. Although they had a good set of six and got the kick in, it actually gave Ilusov the ball in open field and gave him a great running chance, resulted in that try.
Yeah, certainly true. Scotland have suffered a little bit through the lack of good halfbacks being able to control the football. That's very true.
I mean, I think that the real hopes for Scotland have got to come with Thompson and Rush, Thompson playing 6 and Rush at 7, because that's where a lot of the work will come. I've been impressed already with Graham Thompson in this tournament and in this match tonight, but at the moment they're not getting a lot of options, people running onto the ball. Now they've got to work it out of their own 20 as a first.
Yeah, it's basic football that the Scots need to play. could look for a Russian attack on the short side here. Let's see if Kiryakov breaks. He doesn't. The Russians are rolling onto the ball at pace. So the Russian number 7, Gavrilin, controls the play, Trevor.
Yeah, he does. He plays a very good role, and certainly here he comes again with another great pass to the danger man. It looks like he could be in, and he is. Well spotted there.
Scotland's conceded another try out wide.
That's for us, and then he said, try to get number 1 Robert in the asshole.
I think the Scots have really got to keep their heads up, otherwise it could be a cricket score by half-time. It's crucial that both teams finish well. Scotland really need to tighten up on their wide defence.
I think both of these teams had a very hard physical game the game before this one that we're watching now, and it looks to me as though the Scottish have actually suffered far more from trying to handle the power of South Africa than the Russians did playing against England.
Well, certainly today could turn into a game of men and boys. The Scots, suffering from those injuries that we spoke of, need to get to grips with controlling the football and knocking these big guys on their bums, really.
We've got to be looking for a lot of actual strong running now from 8 and 10. Willie DeLange and Kevin Rudd, they've got to start to imprint their form on this game. Now we're going to have the Russians kicking off to the Scots again. It's vital that this set of 6 is a good one, that they stop the ball going into touch and that they run it out strongly through the forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Rudd's been in fine form all tournament today. We need everybody needs a big game, particularly him. Good chase by the Russians there. We need Kevin Rudd somewhere here, do you not think, Trevor?
Yeah, Ribeiro coming on the false run there, but certainly I would also have hoped that as Thompson took that ball that there would have been a second row forward standing right on the back of the line ready to run off him. As it was, he had to take the ball up himself, not the position you want him to be doing it first up inside the 20.
Certainly, it's going to be a tough day for Graham Thompson today with his work rate presently. On the ball again, Thompson. Well, knock on.
Yeah, one of the things we've seen with Robert Ilisov is that he is fantastic with the ball in his hands, but his defensive capabilities don't quite match it, and he is capable of, as he did there, of knocking on. But Scotland have got to be very careful of kicking directly at him. A hard job to get it away from him, but certainly he's not the sort of person that you want to be giving the football to too often.
Do you think his weak points lay in kicking the ball on the ground away from him then?
Yeah, I'd certainly try and get the ball obviously either over his head or trying to kick away to one side. The wingers obviously don't have the same powerful kick return that he does.
He's a player that likes to get involved, Alistair Blee, always hungry for work.
Yeah, and he's obviously played for the senior Scottish side as well, and he looks quite good, but you've got to get the ball in his hands, and a little mistake there, but we get away with it. The ball goes back for the Scots, but it's the power of the Russian defence that's telling already.
Yeah, size definitely matters in rugby league. Good take there. That's Scotland's first set of 6 they've controlled.
Yeah, that was a really good set. As a coach now, I'd be looking, there's a few Scots with the backs turned in the defensive line there. They've got to stop the roll-on of the Russians. Got to make sure that they don't get 10 metres at every play. They've got to get up on them now and stop them at the advantage line, as they almost have done there. They've just got to, and in fact, they've got the ball back, so it was a good tackle.
There's John Ballantyne there, ripped the ball. Plays flank forward in rugby union, actually. It's Kevin Rudd taking it in now. Quick play of the ball, so important in rugby league. Oh, just gone behind McCarthy. It's the first spell of sustained pressure, Trevor.
Yeah, it's Scotland's best spell by a long way, and also they were very quick on that play the ball penalty there when Koftam was climbing all over the Scots. The only thing is, as they tried to speed the play up, again, because they're not quite standing deep enough, as we move the ball out wider, the Scottish wide out are overrunning the ball, as we saw in that last pass. They need to just stand a couple of metres deeper when they're on attack and run harder and straighter.
Definitely, they need trust in their pace. Good ball there, good wide ball. Oh, well offloaded. It's been a feature of the Russian play and the French play in this tournament, as the offloading and general handling skills. Two markers.
Scottish defence held there, and they've got the ball back with some good strong work, but you've already seen it as well. Need to get two markers working much more and closing down the options around the ruck that are allowing far too much room, and also because they haven't got two markers, the Russians are able to switch the ball back in the direction from its first came. You're not closing that option down either.
You're dead right, it's such a crucial part of the game now. I've got to stop the big man driving down. No pace in the line there, Trev, just like you said. Not a bad speculative kick.
No, I think it was one of those that came off because there wasn't any much else on. But the one thing that the Scottish are doing now is that they are beginning to get control of the ball a bit, and therefore using up the time as well. So even though they're not making great inroads because they still haven't got that attack right, if they can actually keep hold of the ball for their sets of six, then you start to dominate in time as well. And obviously it's a good old cliche, but the Russians can't score if you keep the ball away from them.
Good support. Scots need to get organised.
There's a bit more pattern to the play now though. Second row running it in there, setting it up. Now we'll look for it to go wide through rush. And now we just need to get the Scots to straighten up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with how they're playing at the moment if they could just direct those forward rushes a little bit better.
Good hands. Oh, Marshall tackled into touch there. Bit of inexperience, perhaps?
Yeah, and also I think there was no option there on the outside. There was cover defence coming across, the full-back was there. Maybe we should have looked to cut in, but the important thing from the Scottish point of view is that there wasn't any panic there. They did actually make the ball work, and they did manage to go from halfway where they picked the chance up to 10 metres out. So they're starting to pick up the pace of the game a little bit better now. Still not quite challenging physically, but they are beginning to control it.
Penalty for laying on there by Scott Gilmore.
That was because the ball before, again, no markers, and the rush right down the middle of the ruck had made over 10 metres, and somebody had to start slowing it down. Really, you've got to start getting the Scottish getting 2 markers working.
Match is 25 minutes old now. Always looking to lay it off, aren't they? All the time.
Yeah, important that the Scots keep them out now, because we've had a period without a Russian score.
This looks quite dangerous. That's Maxim Romanov. He's just come on, actually.
Yeah, not a bad way to come when you've just walked on, but obviously that it could be a turning moment in the half. We've just seen the Scottish having a period of the control of the ball, making a little bit more of it, when suddenly, from a penalty on the halfway after a rush and bad marker defence, the Russians got the ball moving, and then unfortunately it's this same move out onto from their left side, finding the centres a little bit wanting. There's no sliding cover defence. They're not numbering off on the outside, the Scots there. So the final pass there, meaning that the winger or the guy on the wing there, he got a walk in from that final ball. The Scottish not really doing themselves justice in those vital 10 metres near their own line.
So crucial, that part of the game. So crucial. There's something in training I know John Risman, the Scottish coach, has worked on intensely, especially with the new players, the marker system. But I think today something must have gone wrong somewhere.
Well, one of the things is, of course, that mental tiredness plays a very big part in rugby league. The team that's switched on the most is the team that is going to be working and concentrating. Perhaps that's one of the problems of the Scottish team at the moment. But, of course, it can't be emphasised enough just what a hard mental game as well as physical rugby league is when you're under the cosh like they are at the moment.
I'm sure in your experience, I know in my experience, playing against a hard team like Russia, or as they did the other night, South Africa, physically and mentally, when you're being battered, it takes a lot out of you. You have to show a lot of character to come back into the game.
It does, and they're going to have to show a lot to come back into the game at 18-0 down. But again, they've let the ball go into touch there. They'll get a chance to get steady platform from the scrum and get the ball. We'll have to look to see just how they're going to work this next set of 6. It'll give us a clue as to whether they can pick themselves up or not.
Of course, I'm biased being a Scotsman, but I hope very much that they get their act together. It's Thompson again taking it in. He's really getting through some work in this first half. He's doing everything.
He is, and he's also getting the chance here to relieve the pressure because of a penalty for putting the head in the tackle there, I think, from one of the Russians. So a chance for Scotland to clear the line.
Richard Ribera looks as though he's going to line up one of the drives. It's good they're making 10 yards on their drives now. Let's hope they can keep this up. Playing it short. I'm not sure he expected that. Fourth tackle, Trevor.
Yeah, you could see him shaping up for a kick there. I don't think there was anything wrong with it, as long as the people knew it was going to happen. A little bit disconcerted to see that there's no cover in for the kicker or anything, and Thompson is having to get through a lot of work here and make a lot of tactical decisions.
Oh, good hands. The saving tackle there by Mike Rush. Scots need to slide up in defence. Actually, the Scottish hooker played for Europe against the rest of the world on Wednesday evening. Craig Carter apparently had an outstanding game. Were you there?
No, I missed that one, but certainly that'll be something to say that you played against the rest of the world. Anyway, and probably by the time he's finished telling it, it'll be he played against the rest of the world.
Quick hands. Bit more depth now on the outside from Scotland. You can see, Trev, they're all over the place here, the Scots. They haven't got any sort of alignment at all, either side of play of the ball. What a pass from Thompson. Fantastic pass.
Well, I was just about to say, honestly I was, that any gap was going to come from a bit of individual brilliance, and certainly that was it, because he'd drawn in the attackers, noticed as he was going down that left a gap free on the wing, and he got the pass away. So I think that's the best thing that could happen to this game as we run down towards half-time. The Scots have actually got something on the board, and now they can feel that they can do that again, because they are beginning to make some inroads. Perhaps the Russians aren't coming up as quickly on defence either. So the Scottish team is making some inroads on their charges forward.
No, it was John Ballantyne. Ballantyne scored that try. That's his 8th try of the tournament after his 7 against Japan. That makes him Scotland's leading scorer.
Well, that's not bad going anyway. I mean, it's great in rugby league that he actually can score tries against Japan. One of the successes of this tournament, of course, has been that it has included 12 nations. Probably been disappointed from the home nation's point of view, and certainly I know that the Scots will have been disappointed that England will end up finally higher up than they are after that, after the game between the two. I know you're laughing, I'm sure it hurts you.
Well, it was shocking to see England beat Russia the other night. When we played against them, the Scots really overturned them in the defence, and we played very strongly. Admittedly, England didn't field perhaps their very strongest side against us, but nevertheless it was a full international side, and they couldn't cope with the rampaging Scots. But the other night, it just didn't happen. It'll be interesting to see if the Russians can keep up, because they died in the last 15 minutes against England the other night, and I hope the Scots can take advantage of that.
And certainly there's a lot of interchanges going off the bench. The Russians are just bringing Ilusov back on, the number 1, and their main man has just come back on the field. And so there has been some changes. That conversion kick is holding up in the wind there, so it's going to be just the plain 4 points. But it does give the Scots some hope, I think.
Yeah, it's unfortunate actually with Scotland that we don't have a recognised kicker for conversions or penalties. I mean, against France, the kick was missed in front of the posts at a crucial time. I think some good scouting is needed in Scotland to improve the quality of the kickers. That was a better chase.
Yeah, I'm sure in this next set of 6 you hopefully will see Scotland defence at their best. That's when you should do it. This is the big challenge in rugby league now. Can you keep the side down in their half? You've just scored against them. Can you pin them down there, or will they finish up in the driving seat towards your try line?
Scotland turning their backs again in defence, Trevor.
Yeah, but when they're meeting the runner, they are meeting him in 2s and 3s, so it's not too bad now. They've just got to look for the Russian kick or power play at the end of the 6.
Final tackle, let's see if kicks on Lawson. Out of play there. Strong driving away from Scott Gilmore. See what he played in the Fiji Super 10s. Scott Gilmore.
It looks like he's just about to start his own war against Russia as well, one-handed war.
Yeah, officially the Cold War has ended, but I'm sure Scott Gilmore will have second thoughts and not about starting it. Such a jinky runner, isn't he? Such a jinky runner. I'm surprised the ref didn't blow up there. It looked offside from the Scottish defence.
Yeah, well, they've got to rush them as they are doing there, and it meant that the Russians actually, although Ilusov nearly got away, and in fact they've knocked on there, so this is a much better passage of play from Scotland as we come up to over half an hour of this game gone. They are growing in strength. This is a good time for them. It's going to be their ball now. We would hope that we can finish this set of 6 with Scotland in the pressure zone near the try line.
Certainly with Scotland putting on the pressure, maybe we might be able to see a flary back move. He showed the dummy there, didn't he? Nicely, he took it as well. And Chris Houston with the helmet is a very fiery character. I don't think he'll have second thoughts either about some sort of Cold War in this game.
Definite bit of flop in there that referee spotted, so I certainly would hope that the domination of the first 20 minutes is fading a little bit now. Scotland beginning to believe in themselves, and the key is that they're having the ball in the hands, getting time on the ball. It's that starts to give you the chance to work the moves, as long as you hold on to it.
That's right. You know yourself, Trevor, it's pressure and possession that win matches. Oh dear. Can't believe he's just run into touch.
Run into touch with the help of a couple of Russians.
Just can't believe it. There can't be anything more frustrating for a coach from a penalty. You get 2 drives and go into touch so early.
No, that's when they'll be wishing that they're on there. But I'm sure from this first half there's been several things that we could pick up that we would be saying to the Scottish team at half-time. I'm sure the coaches will be, so we can look for an improvement. And Russia have not started or carried on with quite the flair that they started. Got away with a bit of obstruction there as well.
I've seen a couple of off-the-ball incidents, so I'm not sure if you have. It'd be interesting to see how the two sides shape up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah,
this is going to be a really interesting passage up to the half-time now. 5 minutes or so to go. There is a little bit of nastiness creeping into it. One or two off-the-ball looks as much as anything at the moment. Now the Scots have got to keep out this set of 6 from the Russians. If they let another try in from this set of 6, they can say goodbye to the revival.
Excellent. Going forward. Another good opportunity for Scotland to tighten their grip on the game. Such a tough game, Rugby League, to come back though, isn't it? With the new rules, the kick-off and the return.
It is, but the only way to do it is with ball discipline. We'll be looking on this set of 6 that they get further than 2 before they're pushed into touch. It is literally that every single play the ball has to count. And
it looked like a punch gone in there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is where the best fun of the World Cup starts. This is the Leeds referee checking out his Russian. He could obviously talk to the Russian. He's going to have a problem talking to the Scots, of course, but then we all do.
Maybe he'll use some kind of convoluted sign language.
Well, he's doing that with the Scots now. So here's the 2 captains. As I say, it's obviously quite clear. The Russian understands him absolutely.
Your eyesight must be a lot better than mine, Trevor. I don't think either captain spoke to their teams then. Come on, Graham. Oh, good tackle. I'm not quite sure what happened there, Trevor. Do you see it?
Well, it was one of the first times Scotland have run an angle. Thompson ran some angles, and it was McCarthy, I think, coming in, bundled down off the ball. Nothing really much in it, but then as he got up, somebody else pushed him down. He turned round to possibly have a swing at him, but there was a penalty had already blown up. So certainly, next few minutes could be lively.
The Scots are certainly more vocal. Carter took a kick in that tackle. That looks slightly forward to me.
Yeah, it's because the Russians are losing the momentum a little bit and they're standing too shallow, so some of their passes are now overrunning themselves.
Was he tackled or playing the ball there?
Yeah, it was on his back as he played the ball there. I mean, this is good news because Scotland are beginning to keep Russia out in some very serious positions like that. And it looked as though that guy was going to go over himself, and it was only real determination that put him on his back right on the line. So things are beginning to look up. I'd be hopeful of them, of the Scottish keeping the Russians out for the remainder of this half. That's the first target, and then hitting them early in the second.
Yeah, there's only 3 minutes of this half remaining, or thereabouts. I think the Scottish pride is really getting them back into this game, definitely.
Well, with 3 minutes, you've got to be looking for 6 drives, get as far away from your line as possible, put a long kick, good chase, and pin them down, because 2 sets of 6 will just about use that up.
That's the time. Is that a head injury there? Actually, aside from the rugby, I think one aspect of the Russians that I think everybody would like to see improve is their kit. They don't have a sponsor at the moment, and they could certainly do with some new tracksuits and t-shirts, perhaps.
Well, they could certainly also, they are a bit stylistically challenged as well. Certainly, whoever was designing the magenta tone of their kit had a serious vodka session, but then again, when Oli come over with a suitcase load of jeans, you know, perhaps they are a little bit stuck for some of the smarter gear. But I tell you what, for some guys who've got some dreadful kit, they can play some smart rugby league.
Yeah, that's very true. I think some people, when watching them, tend to think they play like a rugby union team on the field with league discipline.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because I've seen passes and tackles, so that would rate a rugby union team out.
What a mistake there from Scotland. Got the ball, Mike Rush knocked on. It's a crucial time now. The Scots have got to keep Russia out, I think. Russians have overloaded one side. And that was the side they overloaded. Forward pass.
Yeah, he picked that up, and I mean, that was a really vital play. As you said, when Rush knocked on, we'd already said that they had to run the clock down and work it away from that danger area. They gave it away, partly because I think there'd been a break in concentration because the play had stopped. Scotland have to keep their concentration up. And again, they've got the ball back in the same position. They must do exactly the same now. We're looking for safety plays out of their half, long kick, and run the clock down for this half.
They've got to control the football. Dead right. Be interesting to see the stats to see how many hit-ups Graham Thompson's done in this game. Bit of commentary there from the gallows. Well wrapped. They do that so well, don't they? They wrap up players very well. Final tackle. Doesn't look like a bad kick there from Mike Rush. That's the kick they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it looks as though they were struggling to get over the halfway line, but a good kick like that and getting it out of play, vital at this time, because really we were looking for Scotland to control the clock, and that's what they've done there. Now, we must be getting down really into the dog-end days of this first half, so the concentration is the most vital thing now. I'd really be talking to the Scottish team if I was out there and getting them to concentrate on keeping the Russians inside their own half now. Any slips now would be disastrous.
Yeah, I've just seen Scott Gilmore rallying the troops there. It looks like there's a space. It's real scramble defence now, isn't it, in the finishing of this half. Oh, he's knocked it on. Oof. I think he went in with his head there, did he not?
Well, he's got his head wrapped in his jersey and everything, but there is a bit more step into the Scottish play there, finally. The Russians, though, looked as though they had a break on, and the Scots did scramble and recover it, so that's good for them. And also now they've got a little bit of broken play from picking up the loose ball. Last chance to capitalise on this field position now.
Line's nice and deep right at the end now. I think they've got it together a little bit. The big man takes it in. That was good, eh?
Yeah, that was really good. Kept the full back there to about 2 metres instead of like right under the post the last time he got a kick. Also a variation in kick from Rush as well, and this is a much better thing. You can see that the Scots are beginning to believe in themselves, that they can come back in this game.
Oof, what a good pass that was. Knock on. You see a lovely weight on that pass then.
Yeah, the one thing is the Russians are trying to move the ball about, and you almost get the feeling that they feel the ones that they're playing catch-up football, and they have now made 2 mistakes. The last twice they've had a breakaway, they've actually put the ball themselves down inside their own half. This is why, although Scotland are behind on the scoreboard and still got a lot of work to do, they've actually got to get their shape like they're doing. They've got to start to get the pattern to the play, and it is beginning to pay off.
Try to score a balance on there. He's had a quiet half. Oh, is he through? Is he through? That's Alistair Blee. What a great try! What a great try!
Well, you see, we had picked that up on the video when we were talking there. You could feel that the balance was beginning to switch, that the Russians were beginning to make mistakes, and that the Scottish team were in the right position to capitalise on that. They did. They picked up the ball loose 20 metres out in the middle, and some good individual work by Blee brings them back into the game. This is the kicks right in front of the post. This is, if they can keep it up in the beginning of the second half, this is where the game could swing.
Such an important time to score just before half-time as well. Important in any game. That's Mark Burns warming up down there, I think, for the Scots. He's been the captain through the tournament, you know. I think he's led really well.
Well, I'd be much more heartful at half-time now than you would have been a little bit back. Scotland are beginning to get some pattern and a little bit of deeper running as well. That one's right over. It's looking a lot more promising now. That makes it 18-10.
Oh.
Everyone would like to access the bay and bar for refreshments at half-time. Access is through the gate at the left-hand side of the main stand, where you will send a pass. See the jacket worn by Bill Owen, famous for lots of the summer wine, worn when he opened the traffic extravaganza.
Russia to kick off. To Thompson again. The kick straight away. See if it holds up. Oh. Well, can you explain that tactic, Trevor?
Well, they'd obviously had a chat in the dressing room. It took them long enough, and I think they decided that the vital thing for Scotland is to score first in this half and really start to come back at them. Perhaps they just decided a complete shock tactic like that was worth doing. Puts the Russians down in their own 20 as well, if the Scots can keep them there now.
Yeah, I've not seen it used the whole tournament, that kind of kick. Looks like there's a space in the Scotland centres. Sean, he's offloaded well there. Good tackle. I think McCarthy's really come out for this half. He's chased 20 metres there. Oh, he's lost the ball. Translation, Trev?
Well, I think he's a little bit annoyed that the third time in a row that the Russians have had the ball, they've lost it, but they have managed to gain the penalty there, so they're going to be able to put that pressure back on. But the coach, a little bit annoyed at the Russian ball control, but even more annoyed at that, at failing to find touch. So perhaps this is just swinging the luck, swinging Scotland's way a little.
Took that static there. Mark Burns is on the field, the captain. Oh, that was just a bit too close to the defence now. It's a danger man, full back. Short side. Looks. Yeah, it's always on. The wingman didn't stay out on there.
Yeah, it was clever play, which you saw from the play of the ball, that by wrapping round and going on the short side, they managed to get 4-3. So after that, as every man took his target, it was just a case of wrapping the ball round finally for number 4 to score there in the corner. Disastrous start, though, for Scotland, because that really does put them right back where they started in the first half, feeling like they were going backwards.
As we said during half-time, the Scots needed to start strongly, didn't they? They didn't want this at all. Dmitry Rashkov scored that try. Michev for the conversion. He looked to go from here.
Yeah, it just caught it out at the last moment there, but it was a very good attempt from just inside the touchline and over 20 metres away, and not even 5 minutes gone in the second half before the Russians find themselves extending that lead a little bit.
Offside at the kick? No. What was that for, Trev?
I think that was the Leeds for I have to tell you that you can kick off before you kick off.
There's a good drive there from Scott Gilmore.
I think he's the one Scottish forward that is getting better as we go along, and certainly I would be following him about if I was playing.
So the Russians are walking back, aren't they? Do you think they're tired?
Well, I hope so. That was certainly a good chase by Scotland as well. So there's still a lot on to play for this game. The Scots are only the 12 points behind. It's certainly not beyond their reach, but obviously time not on their side as we go past about 6 minutes of this second half. In the just over half an hour remaining, the Scottish have really got to try and step the pace up.
Good kick. What do you estimate for the crowd here today, Trevor?
About 35,000, I would think.
I was in that region myself, actually.
Although the number that paid would probably be slightly lower than that, I would think. Certainly, with another game on tonight, a double header, it will build up as we go along. So the people who have turned up in some number have enjoyed it. Anyway, I feel there's still a little bit on the Russian side. Old Mel Gibson has a lot to answer for, of course.
Oh, do you see that cut? What a step. Keep going, Chris Norris. Oh. Unlucky. You know, he's a rugby union fullback. He's played a handful of games.
Well, that was a well-placed kick, and also with the large post protectors, the Halifax post protectors being so square, there was every chance of a strange bounce coming back there if it had hit the post. And in the end, the Russian defender had to belt it out against the board. So here's a chance to put the pressure back on. Bit of a crowd disturbance down here.
Scotland will look to attack the short side now. Ball back inside. Good tackle. Oh. Come on, guys. They've got to move it, haven't they? Got to move it. Right, last tackle. Give it up, gotta give it up. You think they needed to move it on the second or third tackle there?
Well, they actually wasted a little bit of an opportunity when Craig Carter got a great 10-metre roll on, took it right to the line, and then instead of moving it, they tried the one-man drive that didn't come off. That slowed the play of the ball enough for the Russians to get their defence together, and they did quite well to keep it out when they tried to move it wide through rush.
Chris Houston took a bang there. What was that penalty for?
I don't know. I was just trying to work that one out myself. I didn't see actually the referee's signal. Still haven't seen it. We'll tell you if we do see it, but not a good place to give the penalty away because it's going to put the Russians into the Scottish half without too much trouble.
Oh dear, I need to set that defence. Tackle. Oh no. Got it. That was just a simple drop off and a hard drive in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and the Scottish almost pulled off what they did in the first half, turning him on his back, but he did have enough strength to get the ball down, and really that, again, it's almost a replay of the try in the first half. A little bit disappointing that simply by dropping the ball off that they took the defence away long enough for him to get over the line.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture maybe of tiredness and inexperience reading these plays.
Yeah, there's been a hard programme to follow as well, and certainly I think they're giving something away in age to the Russians as well as size. I don't think the Scottish want to be too downhearted, but I think just at the moment, with the game still going on, I think they'll be absolutely devastated with the fact that they're behind, and possibly even the way they're playing. When you can look back on it, then it's been a good learning experience for Scotland, who are still novices in terms of rugby league, and it'll have been a vital lesson for some of these players on some of the things that you have to do routinely at 100%, not even 95, in order to make a good rugby league team.
Certainly, I don't think some of the newer squad members were aware of the qualities that a good rugby league player needed. You know, strong defence, good commitment all the time. As you know yourself, in rugby union, you can just drift out of their game. That ball's gone straight out, so Scotland's ball at the halfway line. Yeah, I think it's come as a real shock to some of the union players, or the converts, just what you need to do in rugby league.
I think rugby league always does to people who aren't used to playing it, and that's one of the great things about playing it. It's a game where you are so physically involved in it. But yeah, people who think that it's as able as in rugby union to drift in and out of the game are in for some nasty shocks, because you can't. It's not to say that rugby union doesn't have its physical side, obviously it does, but it's a different kind of intensity.
Oh no. At least he reacted to the recovery ball there.
Yeah, there's a bit of overrunning going on in Scotland again. They are now trying some inside balls, short balls to the runner, but there's a couple of times when they've been put down because the final pass, they're just too short a distance between the ball carrier and the receiver.
This fullback's a hell of a player, isn't he?
And a nice offload there from him as well. Certainly it could do to be tested by the Scottish with a few up and unders, because the sun is in their eyes now.
Bit of acting there by the number 9. Rush took a knock in that tackle. Do you think any pro clubs would be interested in any of the Russian players?
Well, there have been Russians playing over here in the British League before now. I certainly think some of the players that I have seen in the Student World Cup will obviously be interesting some of the clubs. It's a measure of how far that we've come at this level, and it's a measure of how well Scotland have done competing in this tournament as well. I'm sure that as the game spreads even more in Scottish institutions, we'll be finding some players there ideally suited to rugby league, and some of them, of course, will be making that step.
Oh, go on, Stuart McCarthy. He's got a good step. He's going to finish. Go on, Stuart. Go on, Stuart. Ah! What a try. Get in there.
Yeah, great step round the fullback. He absolutely left him for dead, and he had him bamboozled as he actually came to him. It was one of those where the fullback turned first and told Stuart which way he could go to leave him for dead. Left him on the halfway line. Little doubt around about 15 metres out, but really no problem. He scampered in. It's the sort of broken field running that we have only seen briefly from Scotland, but they are capable of it.
That's it. There are some great open play runners in the Scotland team. Stuart's been playing for Scotland for 4 years, and every season he does that, game in, game out. Actually, I think the players and the tournament organisers have been pleased with some of the public interest they've had, and certainly the way they've been received around the country.
Yeah, we were joking about the level of the crowd earlier, but the people who are here in their hundreds are really enjoying this game and have got behind both sides as well and supported it. but that's one of the things about rugby league. People like it at all the levels that it's played because it produces.
Interesting. Oh no!
Great individual skills by the Russians. They certainly have got some very good skills.
He's going to bin him for laying on. Oh, I thought he was going to bin him.
He was. He's
laying on. He must have looked very repentant.
Could yet do something. Oh no, it's an injury. Yeah, that was one of the cases there with that little kick and chase from the Russians where they didn't do the orthodox. They didn't just set up the drive, and certainly it shows that they are willing to try these things out. Very, very impressed with that skill. It's not an easy skill to master, and it is a great defence breaker as it was there, and it's obviously having to scramble. Scotland giving away the penalty. It's set up a nice position now for the Russians.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the Samoans use that against the Australians, because no one's yet put the Aussies on the back foot with these little kicks. Don't give away a penalty. Defended well there, didn't they?
Yeah, they kept him out. The Russians appeared to have numbers, but they didn't get it out wide enough, and the Scottish defence held. So, really, if they're going to get these points back, it's from this position now. They've got to work out how to get far enough into the... And they're not going to do it like that. An unpressured knock-on. In fact, it's going to give the ball away to the Russians. This is going to be tough testing time for Scotland now. Unforced error, and they've got to get through a set of 6, just like they did a few minutes before. Not easy.
Need to work hard, need to come off the line quickly. Well done. Numbers in defence, that's what you need in that sort of situation, isn't it?
Yeah, and they did it then. They've really got to put their bodies in, because they just cannot afford to give any more scores away. If they're going to catch up as the Piper starts up as well, this will give them a bit of a rousing welcome. If they've going to catch up this 10-point 26-16 deficit, then they really have got to realise that the time is running out for them as well. Last quarter of the game we're entering, they have got to tighten up the defence, because they can't afford to concede any more points. It's definitely possible to close a gap of 10 points down. That's not the problem, if you like. The problem is they've got to stop the Russians scoring any more.
Finding it hard scooting away at the moment. I think that's definitely the way to play the Russians, though. One out maybe off the first receiver. Interesting ball. Again, see what he can do. Oh, God, it's McCarthy again. Oh, no! That's a dubious decision, though.
Well, that's going to be a crucial call there. If we were lucky, we'd all be looking at the big screen replay now, but certainly Thompson did some great work there, cut inside one defender, and just as he was going, he offloaded to the support there, and they were away. Referee ruled it a forward pass. It certainly was a very marginal decision. That could be the turning point of this game.
Oof, something went on. Come on, guys. beautiful. I like the way the Russians come from depth, you know, with good pace. Got to make the first time tackles, haven't they?
Yeah, they're causing the Scots more problems purely by the speed on the ball. Now they've got numbers out wide as well, but the Scots were alive to it there. Some good tackling. This is the 3rd time in the last few minutes that they've been forced into this position. Getting the big guy coming, but working at him, keeping him out as long as he doesn't pop it out the back door.
It's like watching American football. Running back there, the way he kept bouncing off, turning his back. Oh, no! Oh, great defence. Turnover.
Well, that was like watching a game in slow motion. That was brilliant. The whole crowd sat here watching to see whether he would reach out or not. And obviously Scotland got in there enough to knock the ball out, and that was good. Also, the Russians been a little bit unlucky. They're not handing the ball over properly for the playoff. So it's going to be Scotland to relieve the pressure with a mighty kick.
Great kick from Thompson. No, he used to be Gavin Hastings' understudy at Watsonians.
Gavin who?
Plays a bit of rugby in his part-timer.
Both last forward drives there, making the 10 metres that you need to get the roll on. The pipes are scaling. This looks good for Scotland.
So the Russians are taking a rest on that short side. I think that Thompson's seen that maybe. What's happened there? Knock on? No. I don't think Benz isn't happy with that. And I don't blame him either.
Yeah, not happy with that one. Referee looking at the touch judge, who studiously avoided the glare there. I think I'm not sure what went on, but what has eventuated is bad news for Scotland because it's put into Russia.
It's interesting, Paul McMillan's on the field now, and he's got a cruciate knee ligament injury, and he's on contract with Barrow. So I'm not quite sure how he's going to stand if he gets another knock on that. I think you can see he's running a bit gingerly now. Good shot, oh dear. 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, quarter of an hour to go now. Scotland putting a lot of effort into this defence at the moment.
Let's make it. Oh! Good play.
Crucial last tackle.
Oh. Get up, get up, get up. Here they come. Short side. They're going to hold him up. I'm confident. Yeah. I think they've got to grips with this, maybe.
Yeah, the defence is holding up a lot better. The problem that the Scots have now is the field position that they're having to play the game in. Although their defence is holding much better, and apart from that lapse in this half, they've held out now 4 times on their own line. The problem is that they're not getting far enough into the Russian half, so most of the game is being played out in the first 30 metres of their field.
Some of the tackling is very good as well, the way they turtle the players especially. You slow the ball player down. What kind of kick do you anticipate here?
Well, I think this one will have to be a long one.
He's gone for it. Kick it, Graham. Oh, so close.
There goes another one of those slow motion moments there. Thompson taking it into himself to do some creative play, and it was a good kick and literally just within his fingertip of picking it up himself and possibly releasing the centre, and he just couldn't do it. But part of the problem why he had to make up a kick there for himself was that they only got to within 10 metres of the halfway through the sets of 6, so you're still trying to force the pace with your kick. You're not being able to put pressure on the Russian defence with a kick into their in goal.
It was a nice touch there by the Russian number 9. I think Graham Thompson certainly got their respect in this game.
Yeah, I think he's been Scotland's playmaker, really. They would have been lost without some of the thing, and also it's just because of the amount of work he gets through, because of the tactical positions he takes up. He has the ball in his hand a lot of times. That's also why you've spotted him make 1 or 2 errors, because he has to make so many decisions during a game.
Oh! That's a terrible decision.
Well, the Dewsbury crowd getting more behind Scotland here. That's 2 close decisions. That one certainly looked as though when that hospital pass went out that it was knocked back by the force of the tackle. But certainly I think you could see the ambulance arriving there just at the same time as the tackle.
I'm not sure of the name of the nearest Leeds hospital, but I'm sure there's a bed ready somewhere. It looked like Atamant was going to steam in there at any second.
Well, I thought Mike Rush had a very successful tactic as well. Let's push your teammate towards the action. That stops you having to bend your back too much, doesn't it?
You're a big lad, you get in there.
That was a waste of a Russian possession, though, because it has given the penalty to Scotland, and this is the crowd feel getting behind Scotland now. We're entering the last quarter of an hour, inside the last quarter of an hour. It's now vital that they can actually get over the try line. The time has come to get some points on. It's the only way through.
Kevin Rudd's got through some hard work in defence and attack, you know. He's come into the game since we spoke. Go on, Burnsy. No chance. Oof. Too flat. Aren't they too flat?
But it's to the credit of the Russian defence, they're actually forcing the Scottish laterally all the time. So apart from that inside ball to Mark Burns, which looked as though it was going to produce something, it's forced them sideways and into a high kick.
Oof. Yes. Drop it onto the post.
Yeah, good chance for more pressure here, but you have got to pay some respect to the Russian defence, because it isn't wilting, and it's really that they were put under a lot of pressure there, Scotland, yet they actually had the ball. But they're in the right field position, and this is so much different to the last 5 minutes or so of play. They're in the right end of the park.
Yeah, I think the Russians are very enthusiastic in their defence all around the park.
Well, we've reached about 10 minutes from the end, so we're looking at a point a minute. So Scotland have got to get over that line. That's the only way they're going to get anywhere now.
Another good run from McCarthy. Do you think the Russians... I thought he was reaching for his pocket then.
Yeah, very lucky not to have a sin bin in there, the Russians. With just this 10 minutes to go, it would have left it 12 to them anyway.
I think they've got to shift it, haven't they? So as you said, Trev, strong Russian defence.
Yeah, even being stretched there as they were, the Russians got 2 men into the tackle again. It's good work numbering off by them.
Oh no, crucial knock on.
providing a very entertaining finale though. 10 minutes to go, and certainly Scotland capable of getting back, but I think for them to do it they're going to have to produce a very good try. McCarthy looks like he possibly will do, and some of the inside runs from Burns and some of the forwards is the other way that they're doing it. If they're just going to start chain passing sideways though, the Russian defence is strong enough to push them sideways. It's got to be some sort of a move or an inside ball or a spot of brilliance from McCarthy or somebody that will break it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only way through for Scotland is going to be by an individual taking responsibility.
They've also got to be very careful now with Russia with the ball that they don't fall for some sucker punch and concede a try from the halfway. They've put a lot of effort into the last 3 sets of plays, haven't come up with anything. They've now really got to contain Russia. They've got to keep this field position that they've got. That's why the balance has swung over the last few minutes, but if they let the Russians get too far then they could lose that.
Run it again. I thought they were going to kick it from... Oh no. I'm glad I got hold of him.
Yeah, very lucky there. A judicious bit of obstruction as well, and as he got held of it they did manage to get him down, but literally that could have been the sucker punch we were talking about. But it does mean that because the Russians lost the tackle count, Scotland attacking now from a great position.
To stay in. Oh no. Has he managed it? Yeah, he's managed to stay in search. Timing was a bit out there with the support on him. Going for it again. Oh no! That looked like obstruction to me.
There could be a penalty try here. He's asking the in-goal touch judge, but there isn't. If he'd been obstructed enough, that's what he was going to the in-goal touch judge for. Was there any obstruction as the follow-up hit the post there on the Russian defender? Again, this is on a knife edge. This, you feel that Scotland are really pressing to score, but Russia are just managing to keep them out. A lot of disappointment for the Scottish, I would think, in that shaky first 10 minutes that saw them concede the early try as well and not really look like they're competing. The sort of rugby that they're playing now is much more strong, much more attractive as well. They've committed a lot of good stuff in this second half and acquitted themselves a lot better.
Yeah, certainly. The first quarter really put themselves under a hell of a lot of pressure. 7 minutes to go. I think the Russians will settle us down with some big men driving in. Oof. Oh, he's lost that ball. Good.
Good one. I'm glad to hear such a totally unbiased commentary as well. It's such a delight not to have too much interest in who wins, isn't it? But I mean, what's happening here is you can feel that Scotland are clawing themselves back into the game, but they just don't have the strike power to punch the holes in the Russian defence.
Yeah, although I'm laughing at you, you're quite right. It's just that with the Scottish guys, they've tried very hard in the tournament, as all the teams have, and I'd just like them to salvage some pride.
I still feel that a Scottish try could be on here. It could certainly finish up very closely, but they're going to have to work hard in this last 5 minutes.
It's got to go. It's got to go now. What was it? No, Lino's on. Is that a facial massage?
It looks like it's either that or a hairpiece adjustment, but I think the touch judge is on. It's going to be more pressure for Scotland, I think. Yes, it is, with a penalty.
I think everyone in the stand hopes they score from this set of 6 now. The grandstand finish if they do. Kevin Rogers is going to take the referee out there. He's got to go. That was a good move. Good move. Oh! Should have let that go. Come on, guys. They've done it! Scotland have scored! And that grandstand finish could be on. 3 minutes to go. Anything's possible.
Well, we were saying just a minute ago that you felt that the Scottish could do it, and they finally did manage to do it. Craig Carter, I think it was, finishing off the move, but it came because of some good passing, and the Russian defence for the first time just broke. It's been unfortunate in the 3 or 4 other times they've been up there, they haven't been able to extract that much pressure. But if they can put this goal over, then they still do have around 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, to sort it out. It's in their own hands now.
Yeah, it's the try I was praying for, and I'm glad it's come. I think it would do no harm for both teams to get a draw from this game, actually.
And it'll give the organising committee a good idea to work out how they settle that one.
Maybe a boat race with vodkas.
Yeah, vodkas first and then scotch.
Be a great kick if Mike Rush gets this. He's pushed it wide.
Well, they've just got to work now, and Scotland know that they've got to get the ball back off Russia now with this kick-off. So the man of the match has gone to the Russian fullback, who had such an impact, especially in the early stages. Faded a little in this second half, perhaps. But as I say, now, under the new kick-off rule, Scotland have got to pin Russia down and hope that they cough the ball up, or they stop them getting out of their half and then get it back.
Yeah, they need a turnover, don't they? That's not what they needed. Russian tap at the halfway line.
Yeah, a desperate attempt to put a really, really long kick, and it was inches over. In-goal touch judge signalled that it was long. Penalty to Russia. Now I would be looking for them to settle this down. They'll probably be looking to throw it about because they do play some entertaining rugby, but that could be the time that the chances has just gone. We're moving down into the last few minutes, though. Certainly been a great game, and the Scots have put a lot of effort back into it.
It was a great take by the spectator from that kick. Got a man over here if they use it. Oh, no. They picked up on that move anyway. The drop off inside. Just... Oh! Really needed a good set of hands there, didn't it, for that knock-on?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's just one of the things that you've got to have an instantaneous reaction in rugby league. It's dangerous just to stick your foot out because that could have been waved all on. As it was, there was no advantage. But really, you've just got to fall on the ball when it's loose like that. It's worked to Scotland's advantage, though. They've got the ball back. Last couple of desperate chances now. This will raise the roof if we can get over from here.
This would be a fantastic try if they go the whole length. Could be the last set, couldn't it?
Yeah, I was just about to say it depends what the referee's added on, but that is full time, 6 points in it. Scotland have gone down, disappointing for them, but very gallant. A great game in the Student World Cup here. Russia 26, Scotland 20.